Grace and peace. Welcome to another episode of the TBT Show. I'm Anthony Moten, my friend and brother and partner in crime, Chief Life Investigator.
Chief Life Investigator
is the Right Reverend Elder Shawn P. Aguilar, man.
How did we get to that one? The honorific titles.
Shawn, how are you?
I'm good, Chief Apostle. Seventh in succession, the first of his name.
Shawn's gonna make me go home and watch JFK. I don't know why. I said I wasn't gonna watch it when it came out for some reason. I don't remember, but
I was just surprised you hadn't seen it.
I'm a historian, and I know what it is. Like I know, like there's another thing that's supposed to be it's on some history channel. I'm gonna find it and send it to you.
Mm-hmm.
The story of Oswald, who's actually now this
like
is,
Ozzy Osbourne?
No,
or Lee Harvey Oswald.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Okay, which Oswald?
Yeah, I got to think of I got to find it. But all these years later, now they're going to prove that he was working for some other country.
Yeah, that's in JFK. Which was an old movie. But you see, if you just watch JFK, you'd already know that.
See, come on, man. Like, I guess I don't like history painted in like a movie light, because a lot of stuff ends up being more movie than history.
Correct. More Hollywood than history.
And that's what I'm like.
Which we talked about that when the Woman King situation.
And maybe that's why I said I would never watch it.
I get it. But I would encourage you this is live reaction. But yeah, so it's like, hey, yeah, I mean, if you're looking at that, I would say look at JFK, and there's a bunch of documentaries.
But if I waste my time, you owe me dinner or lunch or something. if it's trash, I'm gonna tell you.
This dude over here, you're kind of reminding me of somebody that a social media personality was asking for their $100.
Who?
Protesting outside the funeral home.
Don't do business with them. They owe me $100.
Bro, did you know that made it all the way to Ricky Smiley?
Really? I'm not surprised.
It all the way to Ricky Smiley. Not only did it make it all the way to Ricky Smiley, somebody said, "Well, man, can somebody help him out? Can somebody help?" What's his cash app? I was sending it to him. Old boy said, "I still ain't got my cash app." on the Ricky Smiley video. I thought that was hilarious. That boy was following up, said, "Hey, y'all said you was gonna do it.
Somebody owe me $100.
Somebody owe me $100. Here's my cash app.
Man,
hit me on my hip."
There's so much that's going on in our world. Some of it is more comical than others. So there was this video that surfaced.
Yeah.
And we're still debating. Me and Shawn are still debating on whether or not we believe it's staged or legit.
I'm conflicted on its veracity, of whether or not it's staged. I'm leaning that it was legit, that it did actually happen, and this was real.
I was always with I thought it was real because of just the reaction.
Well, and the sad part is that this generation that's described here, the Gen Z, makes it believable. If this was in the early 2000s, even the 90s, this would never. I don't think this would. Who would do such a thing?
So
but go ahead and frame what it is.
So a video surfaced of a mother who was going live on some social media platform. Not sure whether or not it was Facebook or Instagram Live, and she was giving her daughter her Sweet 16 gifts.
Oh, it's TikTok.
Okay.
It was on TikTok. Yeah, it was TikTok.
Okay, so she went live on TikTok and she was giving her daughter her 16th birthday gifts. One of those gifts was a Tesla, a 4-door Tesla.
Model 3.
The model, and it was a Model
Nice
3
car.
4-door Tesla, and it's been debated whether or not it was brand new or used. But if you are like me, a Tesla is a Tesla. and then $1,600 in cash. So the 16-year-old went livid and was like, I don't want it. I don't want a car that I have to charge to use. I told you that I wanted a Mercedes Benz, a pink Mercedes Benz. So the mother, and that's why I thought it was real, because the mother was like, you said that, but you also said you like Tesla, and I'm sorry, I couldn't get a pink Mercedes Benz.
Right. First of all, let's press pause right there. No parent should ever have to apologize to their child
for getting you a Tesla.
That they couldn't get you a pink Mercedes Benz.
So she's like,
let me just press pause right there just for a moment.
So she's like, she gets the other gift that was on the windshield was a card, and inside the card was 16 $100 bills. $1,600 to a 16-year-old. The girl said, I don't want it. You keep both of your gifts. How dare you give me a car I have to charge to use? And that's all I get is $1,600. That's all I get for my golden birthday. Now, obviously,
I've never heard of this. This is new.
Obviously, she was a part of this generation. Because who calls a 16 a golden birthday?
Last time I checked, okay, do my Nipsey Hussle routine. Last time I checked, I believe that was 75 years was the golden.
Is it 50?
I want to say that was the silver. I want to say that's the silver. Like in terms of anniversaries, they have like a list of what is what. I want to say that 75 is the golden anniversary, man.
See, I
don't know how you got there so quick.
Well, yeah.
That's like Super Mario when you jump down the pipe and then all of a sudden you show up at the end.
I thought 25 was silver, 50 was gold.
Possibly.
And 75 was diamond. Regardless.
Possibly.
It's not 16. You know what I'm saying?
It's not, we're way out.
It's not 16. So, she goes off, she goes in the house, whatever. The mother is left holding the camera.
You're right. 50th anniversary, golden.
So in 25 is silver. Yeah. I know one is paper.
I want to say that's like the second. Because I remember looking at that for, the wedding anniversaries, type of deal.
Right.
I found this list.
It exists somewhere, but then then she's so she goes inside, she's mad, whatever. The mother's left holding the camera and the phone, and she's left apologizing to people who are watching.
On the live, watching.
Like, she's like, I'm sorry. She said, I really thought she would be happy. And she says at the close of this video, I don't know if you noticed it, she said she has the keys, and she was like, oh, well, I'm sorry, y'all, whatever. I guess I need to go back and try to find a pink Mercedes Benz.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did.
Oh, no.
Yes, she did.
No.
And I just said, like,
you need to act like Players Club. All you gonna get is a Honda Civic.
Say, man,
that's it. Base model LX, the 1995 one from the Fast and Furious, and
that's good.
And have fun with that.
That's good because there's so many 16-year-olds that don't get anything, especially not a car or money like that, or you know what I'm saying. And then your mom is trying to kill two birds with one stone. Like, so she gets you the car, a car that you can, still look good in and presentable and turn heads and be efficient.
Well, and here's the deal. Regardless of if you charge it, every let's just use the generic term, every vehicle operates on fuel. It has a particular capacity.
Right.
And it has to be refueled. Now, regardless if that's gas at a gas station or that's electricity from a charging station,
right,
you still have to fuel a vehicle.
Right.
I hope she's not under the understanding that you don't have to put gas in the tank, that it just magically refills.
Mean, it's just, if I get you that kind of car at $1,600, none of that money has to go toward gas.
Right. Because you're just going to charge it at the house.
Like, and then she didn't get you the little small one. It's the Model 3. It's the 4-door. Like, so you got enough.
Oh yeah, it's a very nice vehicle.
Yeah, a very, so, but again, it just shows the level of,
bro.
I don't even know how to qualify it. The level of
entitlement,
it's entitlement. It's ungrateful. It's all of that wrapped in one. And then and I think I know where it started. Some years ago, I believe MTV, if it wasn't MTV, it was VH1, started that show.
Yeah.
Sweet 16.
Yeah. And then you
get to see these millionaires waste a bunch of money on a 16-year-old who the course, direction, plot in their life hasn't even been built out yet. So just because Lil Wayne did something for his daughter on her 16th birthday, we're not doing that here.
Right.
You gonna get what you gonna get. There is no way. If she'd have gave me them keys or that money back.
Yeah, My Super Sweet 16 TV series on MTV.
Yeah.
Wow.
And again, they saw that. So young people frame themselves like that.
This is normal. And that's part of the issue with the generation that has grown up seeing, we used to have, the lifestyles of the rich and famous.
Yeah.
But we've transitioned to where what people see on TV, they think is the lifestyles of everyday people.
The everyday people. And see, and I think that's the framing for our generation.
Right.
We knew if you lived like this, if you drove like this, if you dressed like this,
right,
you were either rich
and or famous. Or you're definitely rich.
Right,
now, why are you rich? Are you rich because of business? Are you rich because of arts and entertainment? Are you rich because of inheritance? Whatever. But you're rich. You're rich some way. You're rich some way, somehow.
Right.
And and usually, I want to say in the old show, The Lifestyles of Rich and Famous, they kind of did a profile of the person.
This is how they got here.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like, okay, we're gonna show you all this cool stuff. But then it's like, hey, this is the person, this is the owner, this is whatever. And there was a profile that kind of outlined, this person owns this, multinational timber company, or this person owns their family owns the color blue and get a nickel off everything that's blue, or whatever. Yeah.
And maybe that's what's wrong with this generation.
And so now it's not anything about
we don't
process,
know the profile, right?
No profile, no how did we progress, how did we get from here. It is nothing about the start. It's all about where you are in the race.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, well, since there's no profile that is like, hey, how I got there, it was like, well, that's just what people have.
Right. And here's what I'm owed.
Yeah, here's what I'm owed. I'm entitled to have this because I exist.
And see, that's dangerous. That is dangerous.
I TikTok, therefore I am.
Right. You think in your head, and I was thinking about it when I first saw it. We don't see the sacrifice, but can you imagine the sacrifice this mom had to make?
Yes.
To get this at some point. Now, if she has money now, she had to do something to get it, or it came about some kind of way. She had to go to
work. Yeah, right. She had to go to work, or
she made sacrifices.
Or even if she got some kind of legal settlement, whatever, I'm sure she had to go through pain and suffering in order to get it. Whatever it was,
she went through something to get it.
Right.
Now you want this just because you've eating somebody's food.
This is what I don't
get.
For
16 years.
I'm looking at the driveway, and in my observation of the driveway, I'm not seeing a car nicer than the Tesla in the driveway.
I thought I saw an Escalade in the back, a black Escalade.
I can't see. It's kind of cut off from the still image that I'm looking
if you
at.
Play the video, I believe
I'm playing it right now, so
I believe the car in the front on the
because there's a silver one that's like an Impala.
Yeah, the Impala or something.
Yeah,
and then next to that was a black Escalade.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It is a Cadillac. It's an Escalade. That's correct. So, but this Tesla is in between those two.
Mm-hmm.
It's more expensive. It's not as expensive as the Escalade, but it's much more expensive than the Impala. So you're a 16-year-old girl and you drive the second nicest car in the house based on the information we have available to us here right now. Come on now. Now I was, when I was, coming up, my dad always drove the least desirable car, if you will. Whatever was the oldest car, that was the car that he drove. My mom always drove the nicest car. Right. And, so on and so forth, went from there. And I had a nicer car than my older brother, and I'm pretty sure my younger brother probably had to start off with.
Right.
But I mean, that's progress. That's time. That's how it goes.
Hey,
You know, about the same. We all start off with about the same stuff.
right.
But you know, hey, when you're younger, you get something newer, and there's more technology. You know, whatever.
Right.
But you come in and you not worked not 1 second, and you're driving a Tesla.
I didn't even get a car on my 16th birthday, even though we had plans for it. But I made some. I slowed my own progression down. My first car came between my 16th and 17th birthday. Was a 1982 Buick Regal. The headline in the car
was hanging.
Would hang, and you had to open the windows.
Knelt down to meet you.
And you had to open the windows because the air didn't work. I would hit the freeway, and you get, you know, that flapping and then the black stuff all on your clothes. You would have to dust out every time you get off. You know, my air condition was a 255, 2 windows down, going 55 miles an hour. And that car stopped more than a Metro bus. But I was super happy to have it simply because it was wheels.
It was wheels.
And it was more than...
It was a means of transportation.
And I looked around, and it was more than some other young people had.
Correct.
And again,
Same
like,
thing.
so, and I took care, I washed it. It wouldn't run half of the time when I was washing it. And the minute I think I had the water pump replaced one time, and I got a new water pump. I was like, you know what? What I really need now is some rims. Just got a new water pump. I need some rims. I think I got rims for it. You know, sound, because that was the thing.
That was the thing.
You know,
get some bump.
In 92, 93, you know, whatever. But I was just happy to have a car.
Right.
Like, this generation is just not. They're not grateful. You're not owed anything.
Correct.
So when somebody does something for you, especially just because it's your 16th birthday,
right,
you ain't accomplished nothing.
Right.
You know, I mean, a Tesla, some money, $1,600. Man, there's people
free
that get
and
up,
clear,
man,
no taxes.
There's people that get up every day and go to work and don't get that a week.
Right.
Like,
but see, there's and this is where I was going with the lifestyles of rich and famous versus lifestyles of normal everyday people. The sense of what things cost is warped.
Okay.
You know, because people judge themselves based on their peers, and they're always looking up, but they never look down.
Right. Right.
So people that are on the lower rungs of the socioeconomic status, they don't take into account because they think their situation is normal.
Right.
But as some preachers might say, keep on living.
Right.
Because here's the deal. You have this because mom and dad or mom, you know, whatever the household situation is, has worked to provide this for you. And if that parental unit were to suffer some type of loss and you didn't live in that house.
Right.
And now you have to go to work in order to help support the household. You know, if anything were to change, then all of a sudden you go from, you know, a real live Tesla to playing with a micro machine.
Hey.
Does that make sense? And so, but the problem is that she's only 16 years old and doesn't have a concept of what a dollar is valued at. She's never had to work for it. Does that make sense? So to her, it's like, I'm used to living in this house. I'm used to having this standard of living. I'm used to having these clothes. I'm used to having whatever it is.
I want what I want.
I want what I want, and I deserve it.
And see, she proved by her attitude, she doesn't deserve a car at all.
No. Not in my estimation.
Right. No, you
Not
don't.
In my estimation.
No, you don't. I mean,
when I got my first car was a 2001 Pontiac Grand Am GT with Ram Air. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It was a nice car. I really wanted a Trans Am, but the insurance was ridiculous. So I was like, okay, I can get a Grand Am with a Ram Air. Looks very nice. All that different stuff, blah, blah, blah. Because my parents said, look, we can do this for you on a car. I said, I appreciate that offer, but allow me to counter offer. How about I work and I pay the note and let me get something a little nicer? How about that? And they were okay. You keep up the payments. So from when I was in high school, I got this car, had my little job, I worked, and they put down the down payment. I wasn't 18 yet, so my dad had to, do the paperwork under his name.
Right.
He put down payment, and I paid the note. But I worked to pay that note.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
But I wanted to.
Right. Because
I wanted to, because I would rather work for this nicer car, which I still would have had a really nice set of wheels.
Right.
But what I wanted to work for it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And that was just me. That's just how I'm built. But I think this generation, it kind of reminds me of 50's son.
You're right.
What I'm gonna do it. What I'm gonna do with $7,000 a month.
Right.
I mean, you could do a lot.
Right, with $7,000 a month.
You could do a lot with $7,000 a month, even in New York.
And maybe the biggest value system that's been destroyed for us as a generation culture is the value of hard work.
Yeah. Like, the only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary. That's the only place.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, you're going to have to work if you want to be successful. And this entitlement situation, man, is rough. And you got kids that are coming. And here's another big problem. Just peering into the future, okay? So you got the baby boomers. They're retiring, bro, if they're not already retired. Mm-hmm. Gen X is kind of in the power position, okay? They are taking over the executive positions. They're taking over the top spots. They're rounding out to where they're going to go ahead and hang up their spurs. And then you got my generation, the millennials, coming up next. We are the main support in terms of consumption, and we're kind of in the mid-game. Does that make sense? Because I'm at the older end. I'm the elder millennial. Does that make sense? And so
I'm a late model.
Well, I'm an early model. Yeah, I'm an early model. And so, but then you got Gen Z that's coming behind us. And Gen Z is a small generation, like just number. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So there's going to come a time when the changing of the guard happens, they take over for millennials, there's not going to be enough of them. Does that make sense? Right. Which is going to present some issues, because then do millennials have to kind of stick around a little longer to fill in the gaps and make it work? Or the next generation after Gen Z, do we have to do a little extra work with them to kind of, hey, we're going to have to bring you up a little sooner, because we got this small generation that's raised on social media. What they used to say about us is that we were raised on technology. We were raised. Well, I've always had Super Mario Brothers NES. I've always had. That's always. So technology comes easy.
Then about Atari and blocks and
I came after Atari. I came after Atari. Pong. Y'all can have Pong and Commodore and all that different stuff. I came with the Nintendo Entertainment System. That's when I showed up. Okay, Sega Genesis. That's the deal. And so that's when I came around. And so, but even that, I mean, that's pales in comparison to the type of technology that these kids are growing up with. I mean, you got I don't want to say infants, but you got toddlers that are working iPad.
Right. No, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? They can work an iPad, bro. I mean, they can figure out how to FaceTime and
the whole nine.
And so it's interesting. And so, but Gen Z is going to have some challenges because there's a big sense of entitlement.
It is. And it's dangerous. And like I was watching the video, and I watched it a couple times before I sent it out to a couple people in my immediate circle that I wanted to see. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, if that's her response to her mama at a gift,
what happens when she got to go to work? What happens when she deals with other human beings that are not her family?
And when life starts lifing.
What happens when her first boyfriend breaks up?
Hey, but just period. Because the truth is,
it's gonna be tough.
You were given a car, but not the car you want. So this is your reaction. What happens when life gives you a set of circumstances that you don't want? And it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
And it's going to happen. Reality is going to happen more then what you really plan and what you really want happens.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's your reaction at 16, because I believe at 16, you should start turning the corner.
Right.
And,
you're
maturing
right
emotionally and,
mentally. Yeah.
If that's your reaction at 16, what this shows me is, and again, I could be wrong. What this shows me is, although you're 16 in age,
mm-hmm.
as far as like where we come from,
you're not in
stage. You're 12 in stage.
In stage, yeah.
Because
that's childish. What that is. That's childish.
When I got 14, I wasn't doing that to my mom and daddy.
Oh no.
Because there was a different, like we matured at a different rate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so yeah, by the time I was 16, according to the world we live into now, I was probably as mature
mm-hmm.
as 18 and 19-year-olds.
Yeah.
If not more so.
And here's the deal. Let me tell you something about, the government and the legal system. You do something at 16, high chance you're going to be treated like an adult.
You're an adult. Yeah.
You're an adult.
Yeah, absolutely. And they don't care that you act like you're 12. You're going to go into this jail cell.
So, I used to be involved in, martial arts, organized
mm-hmm.
tournaments, all that different stuff. When I was 15 years old, they said, hey, bro, you got to go compete against the men.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't a discussion. It wasn't how you feel about this.
Right.
Hey, we're thinking.
Right.
They're like, hey, bro, you're kind of dominating.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we need you to,
up.
Yeah, we need you to come to a level of competition that's more suited for where you're at in your stage of development as a martial artist. And so I was excited, of course. Now it was a little rough in the beginning because the competition changes significantly.
Right.
Just like the same way when you go from playing ball and you're in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, you go to high school, competition stiffer. You go from high school to college, different level. You're at the pros, you're dealing with the elite on the planet.
Right.
Everybody's great.
Right.
So it's like,
right.
So, but we have to account for that. And I wonder your take on this. This was a young lady. Do you think the situation would ever happen even with this generation with a young man?
In this generation, yes.
You think it still would?
I just think the level of maturity is just not there. I spend some time now. I spend some time on middle school campuses.
You have the
and high school campuses, and it's like the level of maturity is just not. Hey, my boys knew we had a rule.
Mm-hmm.
Middle school, I got you.
Right.
I'm gonna be the one come to the school, talk to the teachers, talk to administration.
Mm-hmm.
I got you.
Mm-hmm.
But I want you to see what I'm doing when you're in middle school.
Right.
Because when you get to 9th grade, I am done.
Yeah.
With you.
Good for yourself.
You need to learn how to open your mouth and articulate what you want. If you're short here, you need something there. You need to learn how to figure this out. Because ultimately, this is your learning years. When you get to college,
mm-hmm.
it's completely on you.
Oh yeah. Because there's no bell that rings. That
no.
I've only attended 2 different institutions of higher learning, but at either one of them, there was no bells.
No, and it's
no
all
professor ever was called text. Hey, Shawn,
I didn't see you today.
I didn't see you today. You coming to class?
Here's what we did. Here's what we covered. You see, no, that's
mm-hmm.
all. Everything's
right.
on you.
Right.
And I think sometimes we do this generation a disservice by not pushing them out a little. I was on a middle school campus where in the transition between classes,
mm-hmm.
like teachers, administrators, like basically walk them to their next area of class.
What?
And I'm saying by the time you get to high school, it's not like so. They aren't. This generation isn't maturing at that rate. We aren't forcing them to mature at this rate.
And I think because that brings an interesting question: is it that they're not developing, or is that they're not in an environment? They're not in an environment that's nurturing them to develop?
I think it's a little bit of both.
It's definitely got to be, but
yeah, I think it's a little bit of both.
I feel like this is the result. This is the evolution of the participation trophy generation. You see what I'm saying? It was the participation trophy situation first, and now it's like just zero accountability. Just
all I got to do is show up. I'll give this personal story. When we first had our oldest, Octavian, man, out the gate, I had a little boy, man. I was stoked. I was super excited, super happy. Mm-hmm. So immediately it's my little boy.
Yeah.
So, he starts walking and that kind of thing. I'm, whatever he wants, I'm dolling him up. Mm-hmm. Right. So when he was young, they have a podcast now too, which blows my mind. Darius Miles, Quentin Richardson, I think they all played for the Clippers or something. Anytime they would hit a three or something, they would hit their head. And Tay, he loved him. He got jerseys and headbands, and he was doing his head. And I got him a little gold ring with his initial in it. He has a ID bracelet, had his name on it. It was just dawned him. So one of my good friends pulled me to the side. And he's like, "Hey man, don't
coddle."
In an attempt to give him things that you were not given, mm-hmm. don't make it super easy for him.
Right.
Like, and it just, it opened my eyes to some things, and not much, change, but it made me think going forward, mm-hmm. like not to make it easy. Mm-hmm. So in an attempt not to make it easy, he had to work. Through middle school, he was working, grinding. Through high school, he was working, grinding. When he got to UT, I'm hearing stories about things that happened after the fact, mm-hmm. right? So, we're going up celebrating, getting ready to celebrate his graduation. We couldn't have an in-person graduation. It was 2020 pandemic. Mm-hmm. Getting ready to move him out. He was moving to Memphis to go to, his master's. He was like, man, there was a time I wanted to quit. He was like, man, I was just like, man, I'm gonna go home and go to HCC or something. Like, it got just that hard. Mm-hmm. But he was like, nah, I didn't make all these investments to get here, just to give up because it got hard. Mm-hmm. Again, I didn't even know. Mm-hmm. So again, that's that forced maturation. Like, we're going to make it hard at this level because you're going to experience some hard times. Mm-hmm. And if you've never seen it, mm-hmm. man, I thank God for that raggedy Buick.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So now it's like, other people, I hear the woes of cars. I'm like, man, nothing can be as bad as that Buick.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, even now it's like, people say, hey, Pastor, time to get another car. It is. But I drove an 82 Buick.
Right.
Like, I'm not tripping about no car. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, I think this generation, when you give them too much too soon, you get them out of the cocoon too soon. They never have to fight.
Right.
They'll win out of anything.
And that's, the interesting part is that when you look at how wine is produced, the best wine is from grapes that grow in almost arid land. It has to struggle. The more that the vine has to struggle, if you give it a lot of nutrients, it actually makes for a poorer quality wine. You see what I'm saying? It has to struggle.
Absolutely.
And without that,
right. Right.
You're not going to get as as high a quality of a product. So
use that in a sermon.
Yeah, use it, Reverend. It's right there. Pick it up and take it.
I just took it.
Yeah, go ahead, Reverend.
I just took it. Secrets but that makes a lot of
secrets of the vine.
Right. That makes a lot of sense though. And if she gets this pink Mercedes Benz,
she's done.
You're making her.
She's spoiled for years.
Yeah, you're making
and what's going to happen is that she's going to have that. She's going to carry that sense of entitlement
all through her life,
or until life hits her hard enough and puts her on her backside to where she's got nowhere to look but up.
Absolutely.
And even then, She might get to the victim mentality,
Right.
you know, and all this different stuff. And, you know, so it can really have long lasting,
Absolutely.
you know, effects into someone's adult life.
Right. Even relationship wise, I don't, you know.
Particularly.
Right.
Yeah, particularly relationship. Because now if that's the standard, then whoever comes along that tries to date her, then that's the expectation. And then it's like, okay,
you're going to have to do what I want, when I want, how I want.
Who's trying to deal with that, bro?
And right.
Who is trying to deal with that?
Right.
You know, so then it's going to be more and more, you know, problems there. And then so if somebody does show her attention, all they got to do is flash, you know, something shiny in front of her.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, okay, gotcha.
Right.
And then
so you
down the line,
see the weightier things.
Right.
You're everything is superficial and surface, and that gets your attention.
Dave Chappelle laid it out.
Yeah, you end up in a situation where you don't want to be.
Gotcha.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so then all of a sudden you think, okay, well, now you're in love because this is how you perceive and receive love. And then when something goes south, it's like, well, hey, that guy that can, you know, give you those nice gifts and all that stuff on that level, well, you know, he has a lot of options.
Right.
And you were exercised as an option.
Right.
And
hey,
you know, you thought it was true or false, and he said no. The test was multiple choice.
Right, multiple choice.
Yeah,
right.
You know,
right.
And you realize, you know, you may have been one of many, and now your heart's broken.
Yeah, you
because you neglected the weight of your matters, as you said.
Right.
You know,
right. You've shown that my expectation is here, but then my attitude in return is going to be there, and that's going to be an issue down through the rest of your years. Just. Not good at all. Not good at all. I know there's a couple other things that caught my attention. One, I didn't get to see the Super Bowl halftime show. Did you see it?
No, sir. No, sir. Good on those.
Good
on those.
The pieces that I saw, everybody's kind of saying it was a bad performance. But the pieces I saw wasn't bad. I mean,
all I saw was a pregnant artist in a red dress, suspended, some backup dancers,
and
I had other things to do.
In a while, so.
I had other things to do. I don't have anything against Rihanna. She's cool, but I just not for me.
Yeah, she's pregnant, and that's
right. So I'm like, okay,
yeah.
She's still. With old boy, same dude.
That's what.
Man, she was real. She was real upset with him not that long ago. Real upset.
That was last week.
Oh, last week.
Yeah, you gotta move on.
That's true.
Yeah, we move swiftly.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Life is filled with swift transitions.
I don't think that's what they meant, but yeah, same thing. Same thing.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I guess congratulations is in.
Oh yeah, no, that part's great.
Rihanna and ASAP. Right?
I'm just not big on halftime shows, and if it's just
Last year was good.
Which one was last year?
Last year I think it was Dr. Dre, but they brought in a whole bunch of other pieces.
That was kind of cool.
And
they had they have Missy Elliott and
and then Eminem.
That was cool.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah.
But I really didn't. I kind of went back and watched it because I heard about it.
Okay.
I didn't really
watch it in the moment.
Not that much. I think Missy was the headliner though.
Was she?
I think it was. I think Missy was a headliner. Everybody else, I think, was the feature.
I could see. I thought it was Dre because it was like people that Dre had produced at some point. So, because Eminem was
right
signed.
Yeah.
Snoop was, So I don't.
Maybe it was. I can't remember, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just. Just not big.
Congratulations to Rihanna.
And here's the deal. What I like, there are a lot of things I like about Rihanna, and I like that she set her mind to business beyond music.
Right.
I feel like she's done a fantastic job in terms of building a brand.
Right. And it's made me leveraging. Because it made me think.
And leveraging the music career
by that.
And then, now you have a brand, you have a business, so that you're not having to be the talent.
Right. Because she's had a very short
window
music career, but a very productive one.
Oh yeah, very productive.
When you look at the whole scope.
No, I give him props. I mean, like that. Now, when you go to that part, it's like, hey, no, I mean, the Savage X Fenty and all this different stuff. Hey, man, she's all the match. She's making it happen. So
she did that, and it's showing how you can be business and still do motherhood. So
for sure.
I like that, and in this generation.
Speaking of women of color.
No, this is a shock to me.
No, this is a shock to me too.
I think it's a shock to her.
Yeah, I was like, really? Is that? I never confused this lady. Nikki Haley has thrown her name in the hat to be the Republican nominee for the president of these United States of America. And Nikki Haley was the governor of South Carolina, and she was also the ambassador from the United States to the United Nations. Okay, so she's got some political chops, so on and so forth. But I've always considered that the governor of South Carolina, and just based on her appearance, that she was one that hailed from the Caucasus Mountains, and but apparently she is a woman of color, and apparently she has an Indian descent, not Native American, but an Indian descent, and so she's now being positioned as a historic candidate, because obviously Hillary Clinton ran as the first woman nominee,
right?
Of a major party. Well, so now you got to add, a little extra to it to be historical. So Nikki Haley is being pushed and promoted as the first woman of color.
Now, white is a color.
Correct. Well, so technically, it's kind of like
the absence of color.
It's the absence of color, but yeah, I mean,
I think all of this is one. Here's the two things that I think about first.
This is hedging your bets right here. Is what this is.
The first two things I think about. One, the Republican field is about to get a lot wider.
Yeah,
because I think with each passing day, it's more and more evident that a Trump return is probably not going to happen, and if it does, it's not going to be as smoothly as him or his circle thinks it is going to be. So I think it's about to get wider. One, then two, I think there's some assumption that Uncle Joe's not going to run again.
I don't see that.
And you don't see him running.
I don't see him not running.
I don't
see him not running.
I would say right now it's like a 50-50. I don't think he's going to. One, he's older, and the age is wearing on him, like heavy, like
Well, he's not that much older than Trump.
But like the age is wearing on him heavy.
Well, it's because the office wears on you heavy, and he's
every
old.
Time he makes a move, stands up, everybody's just holding their breath.
Yeah,
his uncle. I don't
want to say old. I'll use Bible terminology. He's advancing years.
Advancing years. Yeah, he's on the blessed side of 70. He and so I think there's some assumption that in his absence, if he chooses not to run, that for those that might be hedging on a woman of color to.
This is just in case Kamala runs,
And I think so.
This is which I don't see that either because she's not very popular. She's not gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen.
I've seen weirder.
Yeah, but no.
I've seen weirder. I just can't see. I don't know.
I mean, I don't engage in psychic readings, tarot cards. I don't consult these mediums, any of these type of things. But I don't see that in the cards, the tea leaves. I don't see that.
It's a possibility.
I don't see that in the Magic 8 Ball.
Hey, you're not shaking hard enough.
No.
You don't think
Maybe
so?
ask later.
Right.
Maybe ask later. But yeah, I don't see anywhere in all those different options, any iteration where Kamala even runs for president. I don't see it. I know you want to. I know you want it. I know that
who,
other
me?
people. Yeah, you.
No, ain't nobody said that.
No,
I just said I'm just assuming that's what they're assuming. And it's all at this point, politics is not necessarily about best for the job, it's best for the run.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And so
Correct.
like if you're gonna run this, then I'm gonna run that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I think with the two-party system, that's what we get into.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a white woman announcing that she's a woman of color is because, you know what I'm saying, there's a possibility that a woman of color would run as the Democratic, representative. And so, what better way to...
Yeah, I think it's just, okay, you got one, we got one.
Right.
You have because you have the Big Mac, we have the Big Mick.
Right. It's McDonald's against McDonald's.
Right.
And again, you said, like, this white woman who was the governor of South Carolina, now all of a sudden...
I'm like, where was this Indian heritage when you were the governor of South Carolina? That's my thing. I'm not saying that she's lying and she doesn't have Indian parents.
Okay, I'm saying she is.
Well, I mean, here's the deal. What my deal is, you present a particular way. You've presented, as far as I know, as a white woman.
From South Carolina.
From South Carolina.
Now all of a sudden.
You know what cities in South Carolina?
Hey, look.
Charleston?
Hey, you know what South Carolina state flag was?
Confederate.
I mean.
Now she was, to give her credit, she was for, banning the Confederate flag, so, give her a little credit, as far as that. But I mean, I don't know. It wasn't really super decisive.
Hey, if I had to assume why, that would be my assumption.
Now, okay, so let me say this. Hijacking the Confederate flag. I'm reading this article from NPR. When the Confederate flag came down in South Carolina, Haley was conciliatory towards state residents who saw the flag as a symbol of their heritage and not of racism. She has maintained that view in more recent statements. So it happened on her watch, but she was kind of like, people that wanted to stay up, I understand. But you win some and you lose some. Let's move on. So that's what I'm saying. It wasn't like decisive, this must end. It's just kind of like, well, I'm the governor and gosh.
This is going on in our state.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's going to happen, so it might as well just happen. I can at least say that it happened on my watch. Okay, but and that's the deal. But when you say she's conciliatory, and then also watch this, in a 2019 interview with Glenn Beck, she drew heavy criticism for additionally saying that Dylan Roof, the Charleston shooter, had imbued the flag with racist meaning. The Confederate flag does not need to be imbued with racist meaning.
It's the
by anything outside of it. It is the symbol of it.
Right.
I mean, it's
right.
It's not. It's not
flag.
Something external that we have to put on it. It is the result coming out of a particular ideology.
Right.
It's the symbol of an ideology.
If you ask any,
what was I gotta
African American?
What was the guy's name? He was the Confederate vice president. What was this guy's name? He gave a speech that, buddy, hands down, outlined what the Confederacy was all about.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, we're about that slave life. We want slaves.
Right.
And that's a problem if we don't.
And that flag represents that ideology.
Exactly.
It's almost like saying somebody imbued racism to a KKK hood.
Oh yeah, man.
Like you don't have to. That's what that actually stands for.
Alexander Stevens. We gotta talk about this one day. I don't know if I'll be able to pull it up fast enough. Cornerstone speech, that's what it's called. Bro, it's pretty scathing.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you have that time, Google Alexander Stevens Cornerstone speech. Have yourself a nice read. Have yourself a nice read from a proponent of the Confederate flag, delivered March 21st, 1861 in Savannah, Georgia.
I think for her to come out now and say she's a woman of color is just like crazy, but I get it. I think it's a counterpunch,
100%
of what possibly could be, and that would be my thought behind it. Could be wrong, been wrong once before, but I think that's what the thought is anyway.
But Trump is welcoming. Hey, the more the merrier. That's a quote from Donald Trump. He said, "Hey, come on in, everybody, jump in. The pool is nice," because he wants as many as possible. Because the one thing that he doesn't want, what Trump likes, is a street fight.
Right.
He wants a Royal Rumble. He doesn't want a one-on-one.
Right.
He wants, let's mix it up and let me give.
And that's what happened before. And I think
exactly. So he's seen
repeat
of
history,
course.
right?
It's like, let me get everybody. Let me give them all little nasty nicknames
and see if I can recreate that move.
Exactly. Right. And then let me go ahead and all that different stuff.
Right.
Play the victim. I'm a counter puncher.
Right. And he can definitely do it with her.
Oh yeah. Now he can mix it up all day. He
can do it with her. She's giving him ammo.
Oh yeah. So it's like, okay.
Yeah.
But interesting, the direction that we'll see where the Republican, the GOP, what direction they want to take.
Out. Yeah.
Because they can't fully dismiss Trump, but they have to put up, an adult candidate,
right,
and hope that some of them what was the Survivor mantra? Outwit.
Right,
outplay, outlast.
Right.
The GOP field is going to be political survivor.
Right.
But speaking of direction, there's some new direction coming to a luxury fashion brand. All right, in the fashion brand known as Louis Vuitton, they have tapped Pharrell Williams as their next men's creative director. Interesting.
Very. I'm not a fan of fashion at this point. I'm not a fan of Pharrell. So
really, share with us.
For real?
Yeah. Not that I'm a big Pharrell fan. I mean,
and musically,
I like Happy.
He produced a CD for Slim Thug, and I'm a big Slim Thug fan. Northeast Houston, and I was like super for real. And so a couple years ago, I'm saying a couple, maybe 3 or 4, he collabed on a song with Kim Burrell.
Okay,
and they were going to the Ellen show to do the song, and the week of a video leaked of Kim preaching to her church, and she took a very harsh stand on, homosexual life. One, she took that stand to her church. It wasn't, and that's my biggest, because it wasn't for public consumption. She was talking to the congregants of the church she leads. But when the video was leaked, everybody was just like, hands off. Ellen said she couldn't come to the show.
Uninvited.
Right. And so in order for Pharrell to keep his connection with Ellen,
he had to denounce.
He disconnected from Kim, and I just thought that wasn't cool. Because you sought her out and begged her to collaborate on this song. But then, when this happens, you just, drop. Now, again, I'm not right, wrong, or indifferent. Just saying, if we're going to partner, let's partner. But Pharrell has shown himself, not just with this example, but, ones previous, that he is every man for himself and God for us all. He is, he's dog eat dog.
Dog eat dog.
And so because I don't like his business model, I don't, like him necessarily as a artist. Him being over creative design of, Louis Vuitton means nothing to me.
No, I get it. I was just, I kind of know him mainly as a producer, as a artist, producer, type of deal. But apparently he has done some collaborations with Louis Vuitton in the past. One in 2004, one in 2008. And
that's a lifetime ago, though.
Oh yeah,
especially in fashion.
Oh yeah, fashion is fast,
and that's what I don't understand is I think Louis Vuitton may be trying to get back in the race for race for urban attention.
Well, so here's the deal. Check this out. He has collaborated with a number of brands: Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Tiffany, Nike, and Adidas. He's done some work with a streetwear company called A Bathing Ape. They launched some other clothing lines under some other labels, but here's the deal. Pharrell is kind of known as a tastemaker, trendsetter type of deal, so I get that. But the guy that he's replacing is Virgil Abloh, Off-White. Legit. He passed away, but I mean, his stuff is highly sought after, especially in his passing. But so he's following Virgil Abloh, who was the first Black American to ever hold a head design position at a European luxury house. And Pharrell is number 2.
But he was a fashion.
But he was a fashion guy. Like, that was everything he did. He was. That enveloped him. Right. Pharrell, this is like his side job.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, so this is like his side job. And so now it's like, hey, look, we're going to bring you in right behind this guy.
Look, I do rap songs, R&B, I change alternators, and I'll do something for Louis Vuitton. That's something. It just seems like Louis reaching to ride a Pharrell name that no longer exists.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe they were just trying to continue the philosophy, something similar, similar philosophy. But I gotta tell you, man, we'll see what his first collection is supposed to come out for the summer. So we'll see what it all comes down to.
Yeah, I don't, I'm just but
fashion is weird. I was just about to say, I was like, fashion
is weird.
I mean, fashion always has been weird. I mean, even if you look in the 80s, but it seems like it's getting weirder at the consumer level, not just the weird stuff that they put on the runway. That's kind of like in the automotive industry, we make concept cars.
Right.
The manufacturers will put out a design of what they would like to do in the future. Now, obviously, everybody knows that, hey, if that car comes out or whatever, it's always going to get changed because there's certain things you got to take into account with federal regulations for safety and, things like that. So you can't get the crazy design that somebody thinks of that they would love to do, because you have to now adapt it to make it legal and safe, to drive everywhere. Right. So you got to have a design that you can take that design and with minimal modifications, put that in the American market, Canadian market, put in European market, all that stuff. Because like even in Canada, there's a lot of modification that has to be done to a vehicle to bring it up to spec from Canada to U.S. spec. I mean, the United States has, some of the most stringent requirements and laws for a vehicle to be sold in America. It's got to have all these things done. And so, I don't know where, I hope Pharrell doesn't take them further in that direction.
He absolutely will. Because
the problem is that my concern with having a guy like Pharrell in there is that you end up getting, this Astro Boy, big red boot type of situation.
You are, because he doesn't know. He's going to go, his name is on the line, so he's going to go all the way. And even with those boots, like when I first saw those boots, I was
this is Super Mario, bro.
I said, there's no way anybody's going to wear them, right? So I'm watching my NBA. I'm getting ready to watch the game, and they show Shea from OKC. He walks in with these boots on his feet. Kyle Kuzma the other night, he had on black bubble wrap.
Oh, you showed me that picture. He looked like the Michelin Man went to the gym for a little while.
I'm like, what? And again, the weirder, like, we'll chalk it up as the cooler. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just weird.
But to me, it's just, it's weird. It's outlandish. It's not, I mean, and it's kind of difficult to just find normal looking stuff. Just give me a nice, well-designed piece. Does that make sense? They just recently opened a different luxury brand right next to Louis Vuitton in the Woodlands and Market Street. Gucci. Mm-hmm. Right next door, And it's like there's a lot of weird stuff.
Weird.
A lot of weird stuff. I look at some of the shoes and hey, I'm kind of in between both. I appreciate some things at one. I appreciate some things at the other. So it just depends, on the piece. But I just look at things in general, and it's just like stuff's just getting
weird. Look, my baby boy talks about me all the time. Evan's like, you're just, because I'm going to wear the same thing. Every unit's going to look the same. Anybody that knows me,
classic
Levi's jeans, nice kicks, polo top.
Now here's the deal, and this is another concern. Do you know who owns Ralph Lauren polo now? LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet, Hennessy, the parent company that owns Louis Vuitton.
Really?
Yes.
When did that happen?
Just recently. Not that long. Yeah.
See, I hope they don't start bringing that weird.
Don't mess with polo, bro.
Yeah, leave it.
Leave it. It's classic. It's clean.
Leave it be, man. Because again, fashion's just weird to me. I just,
some stuff, bro. The reason it's called classic for a reason.
Right. Sometimes we do too much.
Yeah. LVMH acquisition of Ralph Lauren.
See, I know this is a bad.
It was about a year ago.
I know this is a bad example from a pastor. But I know
this is bad. I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, because it just proves that we do too much. So it's like I think Jack Daniels, it's Jack. Crown Royal is Crown. Then they started Crown Apple, Crown Peach, Crown Mesquite. It's like Mesquite now wood. But just
I didn't see the Mesquite one. I seen black.
Mesquite
tastes like that.
Right, they got a Mesquite, like and it's like just leave it be. If it's good, just leave it be. But again, we're not creative enough to do something new. So we got to jump on something old and
remix it.
Hey, that's why you got, Bad Boys 27 coming out and Fast and the Furious 48. It's like because you're not creative enough to do something new.
So there's a Netflix show that's out. You People, have you seen this?
No.
Okay, look at it. It's basically.
If it's something old, I'm not gonna look at it. What?
Say what?
If it's something old, I'm not gonna.
Well, yeah. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
See,
which was remade as Guess Who, which is now remade again, just the other way around, with You People. But it's the same basic story. It's the same basic story of a biracial couple and how their families react to their relationship. I mean, it's basically the same thing over and over. So the new one has Jonah Hill and man, I forgot the actress, the black actress that's in it. Nipsey Hussle old girlfriend. What's her name?
Oh yeah.
Lauren London.
Lauren London.
So, good little picture. Watch it. You know what I'm saying?
I ain't gonna be able to do it.
Too busy?
I ain't gonna be able to do it. Okay. Erica tried to get me to watch.
Busy watching grass grow.
Oh, paint dry.
Yeah.
It was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but it was the Netflix. Was it Netflix?
No, it's on Peacock. Peacock. It's streaming.
I'm not doing
They're out.
If we're not creative enough to do so. You'll just take something old and try to attach something new to it and think people no.
It's like when you get married, you need something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue.
No. If it's old and it worked, leave it.
But we do that. That's what they do. They rehash. Get Smart. It was a TV show. Dragnet is a TV show. Okay, then they update it. They make it, a movie. A-Team. 80s TV show. I actually like both TV show and the movie on that one. I think they did that one pretty good. I was so sold on the TV show. Mm-hmm. When the movie, it's just like I can't
But that was Mr. T. Yeah. I'm not watching this. That's
that's Rampage, man.
Yeah.
I think it's one thing when you take something and it's the same name and you're just giving a new fresh take on the same. What I don't like about the Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, the Guess Who, and the You People situation is that you're trying to make it seem like you made something new and you didn't. You're perpetrating.
See, that's all of them though.
No, but like A-Team and A-Team, you had guys from the original series that they made little cameos. Yeah. Starsky and Hutch, They did the same thing. You are retelling the same story. What this other situation is, I'm telling you a new story. Unless you are old enough to remember that somebody else already told that story.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Well, I think with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, everything was the same, but they changed some of the dynamics and some of the, and it's like,
it wasn't this.
It's the same, but it's not the same.
Right.
I'm good. I'm good.
Well, at least they had the common decency to give it a different title. A little bit.
What was it?
Bel-Air.
It's
not the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, okay.
No, okay.
You're right.
If we were back in the day and I ever watched you, hey man, you watched the last episode of Bel-Air, and I asked you that question in 1997, what would you say? What are you talking about? Now, if I said, hey, Moten, you watched Fresh Prince last night? You know what I'm talking about.
Man, that's okay. That's the same thing. It's almost like me saying, you know what? I'm going to start a new TBT show and just reverse the name.
The BTB show?
TBT, it'll be but it'll be the first T will be the last T. Man, it's the same thing, man.
The first T will be the last T.
It's the same thing.
I get it. It's the same thing, same concept, same characters, blah, blah, blah. Now, with the other one, it's not. It's different names, different, but it's the same story. They keep rehashing. It's like somebody remade Beauty and the Beast right now.
If you did that in college, they would put you out.
It's called plagiarism.
It's called plagiarism. It's this.
Now you get kicked out for that, but not in Hollywood.
Oh, it's creative.
In Hollywood, that's a refresh.
I just can't. I can't. And that's just me. I don't expect everybody to be like that. That's just me though. I just can't. So I hope whatever Louis Vuitton does with Louis Vuitton and Pharrell, do that with that. But we don't need new Coke.
Right. Because we've all learned that all that happens, you come back with Coke Classic.
Hey, the classic is good enough. Don't you mess up this horse.
Crystal Pepsi. Crystal Pepsi.
Don't you mess up this horse. Now Polo done stood the test of time. We good.
Exactly. But no, I'm telling you. But see, that's the thing is that a lot of these brands, they're owned by the same people.
Yeah.
I want to say LVMH also owns them or YSL. They own a bunch. I mean, it's kind of like the eyeglass industry. There's only like really two big,
everybody's under these two umbrellas.
Yeah. I mean,
you think you're doing something different.
Yeah.
I'm going to go buy this.
Right. I'm going to buy Gucci glasses, or I'm going to buy this, or I'm going to buy that. Hey, bro, that's all Luxottica, and Luxottica.
Right.
That's what you got.
Right.
And so, all they do is just pay a licensing fee to these brands.
Right.
But they're still shaking and baking with the exact same stuff. It's made out of the same plastic. Wow. It's, situation. I'm just trying to told you.
Just trying to told you.
But I hope they don't mess it up, man.
I hope so too.
I
hope so too.
I
hope so too. Matter of fact, I pray so.
Yeah.
Come on, saints, pray with me.
Speaking of prayer. Be careful who you pray for now. Apparently.
Yeah,
now this you brought to my attention, and I've totally missed this. I guess I've just been busy.
I'm gonna send you some more videos because there's some people going in.
Wow.
In on her.
Okay, so let me just go ahead and introduce it. So Tasha Cobbs Leonard, gospel artist, took to Instagram in order to create a prayer thread.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I've heard of prayer calls and prayer lines. This is a new one, prayer thread. Okay, so prayer thread on Instagram. Instagram is visual, so she typed out this prayer and said that this was her praying for Beyonce. Okay, praying for Beyonce, got a lot of weight on her shoulders, so on and so forth. And when I'm looking at it, I mean, she's praying that the Lord would fill any void and give her joy. She's praying that she would find rest and safety and peace. The family would be strong together. Any distractions be removed. Pray that her cares and concerns would be eased, their burden be lightened. Pray she's protected from all evil, harm, and sickness and disease. Remove thoughts and ideals that are not good and perfect. Protect her from the weight that comes with greatness. Enjoy the wins, grow from the lossless. Let her prayers be heard and your will be done. In Jesus' name, amen.
Sounds like a solid prayer to me.
Hey, it's like, I think most people would be like, yeah, if somebody prayed that for me, hey, God bless you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not on Instagram. Not on Instagram. So, you got people that are upset. That are upset with her praying for Beyonce. Bring us, what say ye? Chat us up.
To the point where some people are saying,
wow,
that they will never buy any more Tasha Cobb material because she prayed for Beyonce. How dare you pray for Beyonce?
Man.
So and again, some of this is generational, but it's just sad that Christians, believers, are so stuck on things being a certain way and certain personalities that are or aren't, that you even try to qualify who is a good candidate for prayer.
Right.
When Jesus says in the Sermon on the Mount, love your enemies.
Mm-hmm.
pray for those that despitefully use you. Even if you think.
So now you disagree with Jesus.
Even if you think Beyonce is not the prime perfect Christian.
Well, first of all, who is?
Right, who is?
Number one, who is?
And then, does that disqualify you for prayer?
Right.
Like, we're just, like, and that's why I say it's like, in certain settings, like, sometimes believers can be the most hypocritical people on the face of the planet.
And this is the type of stuff right here that will stop somebody in their tracks from going to church. Let's say something happened in their life. Maybe they weren't going to church. Maybe they were raised in church. Maybe they weren't. But whatever's going on, life is lifing. They're looking for answers. And they're like, you know what? Maybe it's time for me to go to church. And it's Thursday, right? They're planning. They're asking their friends, hey, where you go to church? Where you go to church?
I'm going to go with y'all. Right.
Yeah, I'm going to go with y'all. They're planning out the Sunday experience. But then Friday night, Saturday morning, they read about Christians attacking another Christian for praying for someone.
Yep.
And they like Beyonce. You know, they're on the email list.
Hey.
They got the secret decoder ring and all that different stuff. And like, well, what, you know, because they don't, you know, they're not operating on the level of some people that are looking at, you know, some of the imagery, reading really deep into her album covers and lyrics and stuff like that. They just, hey, you know, beats good. You know what I'm saying? I like Beyonce. She's from Houston. Woo, woo, woo. And so on the face value, you know, they're not looking into all these other things. All they're looking at is, hey, this girl is a gospel, or I'm sorry, this lady is a gospel singer, and she prayed for a secular musician, and Christians are jumping all over her.
Right.
Like she did something wrong.
Like she did something wrong. Right.
And I mean,
which, and to me, it's crazy. And I know, and I know I'm going to be expelled from certain circles. Like, some things are just not that deep. Right. Yeah. So this one woman, I'm seeing this video because it's funny. She going in and it's all demonic. And when demons are growing, when they grow and they're adolescent demons. And I don't know what
adolescent demons.
I mean, she said something. I'm gonna send it to you.
Oh man,
she was saying like, something. She said, they're called the hive, and then that's why.
Oh gosh,
that's why they Beyonce they called the fan the beehive. Maybe it's just because her name started with a B.
Yeah, that's probably
it. Everything ain't that deep.
Sometimes it can be over spiritualized. Now I'm not going to discount that there may not be certain things where you can connect the dots and see that, okay, hey, maybe there is a deeper meaning in certain things. But I think that you have to take, you know, the whole of somebody's body of work or how they operate, how they move, what they do and what they say into account, not just this one thing. Oh, he wears checkered Vans, so he's in the Illuminati.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so those type of things. It can't be just one isolated incident. And that's news to me. I didn't know about adolescent demons. I didn't hear nothing about that in seminary.
She went on and on and on talking about.
I'm looking through
a bunch of, and again, it's just like, for me, it's just
that was in the Scamulations.
Yeah. I just don't.
Chapter 7, 13 verse.
If you have to go that deep to find something, what it means is it doesn't exist.
You're just looking for an excuse to not like this person.
Dig it, and some of us are so deep. The shallow got us in a headlock. And just
don't be so heavenly minded that you know earthly good.
And look, and again, I'm not saying that evil does not exist.
Right. Of course, we know that evil exists.
Jeffrey Johnson says the evil that we need to be concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
If you spell evil backwards.
Mm-hmm. So when you live backwards. Yeah.
So when you live backwards, it's evil.
It's evil.
So what's more evil? Even if that's the thing,
right?
What's more evil? Praying for somebody you feel like is
let's say you feel that somebody is demon possessed or oppressed. Why wouldn't you pray for them?
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you pray for them? That's backwards.
Now, if somebody came in the middle of a church service, does that make sense? then everybody would want to look holy and be like, oh, let's pray for this person.
Right.
This poor downtrodden soul.
Right. But if she prays for her on Instagram or whatever
Instagram,
the platform was,
canceled.
Right.
Canceled.
So what's more evil? Mm-hmm. Even if that's why she called him the hive, I don't believe it. So
that's a new one, Reverend.
So what's more evil? Mm-hmm. You jumping on a Christian for praying,
mm-hmm.
or her calling? And again,
right?
We just put values in the wrong place, and some of it just doesn't make sense. It's crazy. And
mm-hmm.
again, you're trying to win people, but you win people by attacking people.
But that's not a winsome witness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a lose most witness.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's how you lose most. I mean, we ought to strive for a winsome witness in our words, in our deeds, all those different things. Because someone may not make it to Sunday morning.
Right.
They may need to see a sermon in some shoes.
Right. And that's, I don't know, that frustrated.
I'm glad you brought that up, because man, I did not, and I've been super, super busy. I'm sure a lot of people are. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world, with, work, family, all the different stuff. So this was one that slipped past the radar, because I definitely would have looked into this. But
and I see these other videos, you can be like, what? And these are believers, like,
mm-hmm.
And again, I'm gonna say this and we can go.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I try to like I'm not saying harp on, but really highlight for our church is like anything that we do outside of love. Paul says, you just making some noise.
Yeah.
It's
clanging cymbals.
And how can we convince a world that we are connected to God and God is love when we don't have love for another? Matter of fact, the Bible says, how can you love God whom you've never seen?
Right.
And hate your brother that you see every day.
Mm-hmm.
And not me, but the Bible calls you a lie.
Right.
Like if this girl sincerely prayed that prayer out of a genuine spirit, what is wrong with that?
And I mean, there's no destiny, season, harvest, favor in here. You know how, that,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this all,
it's right.
Seems, fine and dandy. I mean, I think this was, something where, a gospel artist is seeing in her own life and conducting the business of, her art and things of that nature, sees how it is for her.
And she's
and it's like, you could only imagine
on a greater level what Beyonce is having to go through as, one of the most popular female artists, period, but one of the most popular musicians in the world as a woman, and in certain spaces, and you're dealing with secular people, right.
And so to have the consideration to even do that in the first place and do it in a public fashion, I commend her. I commend
something.
her. Yeah.
And a lot of it, I feel,
and I hope Beyonce sees it.
I hope so.
I hope she sees it.
I think a lot of it is backlash from that church girl song, whatever.
Yeah.
It's almost like, so we set up this standard, we dislike this person.
Mm-hmm.
So now everyone has to dislike her because we dislike her.
Mm-hmm.
And you
must submit to the one true opinion.
Right.
You are free to do as we tell you.
Right.
So if you do not submit to the one true opinion, then you're kicked out. You're off the island.
Right.
And
I think that's what it. That's
another thing. In terms of sense of entitlement and all the different stuff. One thing, man, I just see the rapid deterioration of critical thinking, bro.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, really people in general, but even more so with the upcoming generation.
Right.
And that's what is missing. Because if you thought critically, and looked at this for what it is, I don't think that you could arrive at that perspective.
Right.
You know, and then also you got people stoking the fire. You know, there's a YouTuber, Marcus Rogers, that he kind of, so we're gonna have to go back and take a look at his commentary. But obviously he was not flattering, in terms of that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, sometimes we have to look at people's intent. A lot of people are giving certain opinions, not necessarily because they believe them to be true, but they believe them to help their name be broader.
Right.
And that's, a lot of people are using real life situations to embolden and embroider their own names, and which is sad, in itself. But yeah, we can definitely revisit this because there's a couple other videos. Like, you have to see that woman. I don't know where she was going with the hive thing, but I'm gonna send it to you. You got to see.
Yeah,
that.
please send it to me.
She was. I don't know what she was talking about.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Again, you got anything special going on this week? I know you're consumed with.
Oh yeah, but life.
Life is life.
Life is life, and life, work, and ministry, and things of that nature. But I don't think, as of it, when this will air, can't think of anything out of.
I can't think of either. Excited about show for next week.
Yes, excited about that.
Yeah, friend and brother Reginald Rose will be
joining us here in the studio. Looking forward to that.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to that.
Looking forward to that.
Prayerfully, we can get into some great discussion about some things that need to be talked about.
Yeah.
And so again,
one thing I know, he'll keep it real.
Right. No other way.
Yeah.
That's my dude.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, if you can share, whether you're watching us on Apple Podcast or listen to us on Apple Podcasts or watching us on YouTube or Spotify. Or whatever the venue is, share. Following us on any social media platform definitely share as well, so that we can continue to grow and expand, to have some real discussion. And then join us next week. Excited about next week. And so we'll be counting down to the time we can join you guys again. But until we do, look out for each other, pray for each other. All we have is each other. And until we see y'all next week, grace and peace.